are a unique community because we have no dogma. We don't force upon you what you should believe. We allow you to be the captain of your ship, to be able to direct it where you want it to go. So we trust you to come up with a God of your understanding, one that you can empower in your life to a greater knowing. Well, I've got several announcements this morning. The Science of Mind class, we're continuing that. That's on Thursdays at 3 o'clock. If you haven't been to the first couple, you can still join into that. It's a really good way to meet people, and it's also very good discussion. We have yoga on Tuesdays, and that's at 10 o'clock. We have it again on Friday at 10 o'clock. If you enjoy yoga, these are some great classes for you. Let's see. We handed out a flyer for you earlier. It's to help us spread the word on social media about the Mystic Fair that's coming up. So if you got this little flyer, if you on social media, if you do some of the suggestions, that will help a lot. Let's see. We're also trying to get a new little orphan a home. Jen, would you come up?
Good morning. Freya needs a Valentine, and she's about 9 and 10 from SAFE. So if you know or anybody that would like to adopt or foster her, she's an absolute angel. She was actually a trained service dog, so she's really well behaved, spunky and full of life. So you can see us afterwards. Thank you.
Oh. Thank you, Jen and Jack. Now, after service today at 11:30, Jim Saul is doing a workshop. Jim, come up and tell us a little bit about it.
Good morning. The name of the workshop is Healing Yourself. This week I actually wrote a little 12-page book that goes with the class. Anybody's invited. It's a love offering, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through and trying to recognize those things that need to be healed and how to heal them. So it's only going to be an hour long, so we're going to try to kind of cram a bunch of stuff into a little short period of time. I thoroughly believe that it's going to be an enjoyable class. Come with me and we'll see what we can come up with.
All right, thank you, Jim. So those are all my announcements to get our service going. We got Brenda Cisensis coming up to do a reading and treatment for us. Come on up, Brenda.
Good morning. I think you need a third dog. Oh. Okay. Well, maybe you know, maybe you don't know, this is Black History Month, where we celebrate the history of Black people in our country. And I'm taking a reading from last year, Science of Mind February issue, where they devoted the whole month to Black history readings, about different aspects of it. So this is from the February 1st, 2024 reading. So Black history is American history. The only difference between a burglar and a settler is who writes the police reports. That's from Michael Harriot. And then Ernest Holmes says, our horizon is limited to the confines of our own consciousness. And in this reading, you'll find how Black people did not confine their consciousness. They spiraled ever upward. It helps us to know and hold in context what it was that Black historical figures were getting over. It helps to have a clear context of the time, the laws, culture, and power dynamics to better understand what was required for Black folks to succeed. My research reveals an upward striving based on determination, perseverance, tremendous faith, courage beyond what I have seen or known, unconditional love, open-heartedness, compassion, and empathy. This striving seems the catalyst that drove these historical figures from what might have been their destiny had they bought into the constraints forced upon them. Instead, they nurtured and harvested a larger vision, a healthy sense of self, a divine knowing that something more was possible and ultimately inevitable. And they didn't stop there. They stayed the course and worked to create a way out of no way. This can be instructional for all of us to acknowledge and honor the horrendous circumstances and immense risks. Although many did not make it to the mountaintop, they never gave up, and many thrived. I am blessed to see myself and this teaching, the principles we learn and teach and endeavor to practice, evidenced in these stories. All sustainable progress depends on us working together toward a collective greater good. Some will be resistant, some will serve and support as allies, some as advocates, and some will step up as co-conspirators, committed to doing whatever it takes, including what the Honorable John Lewis called getting into good trouble and necessary trouble. I am empowered by my awareness of and commitment to our collective greater good. Okay. That was from, let's give the credit to whoever wrote it, which was, it was Reverend Dr. Andriette Earle. Okay, so let's take a minute and breathe. And absorb what we just heard from this reading. And know that there is one divine power, divine intelligence, a substance that is the universe. It is us. We are part of it. It is all of us. We are one with it. We are one with those people who lived before us, our ancestors, all ancestors of all people, who through determination and perseverance and resilience and faith and courage, more than I ever experienced in my own life. And I know that Spirit gifted them with the courage to rise up, to go beyond their current circumstances, to bring forth what we have today. All the abundance of the universe is here for us to be open to and accept. I take great inspiration from Black leaders, African American leaders like Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass and Dr. Martin Luther King, who knew something better, who brought about something better. And we also can do this. We have the wherewithal to do it. We have the power to do it for ourselves and for others. And so we can create a world that works for us and for everyone else. I'm grateful for knowing all these things. I'm grateful for this center. I'm grateful for all of you here to accept this message. I'm very grateful to Reverend Ken, who leads us every week, week after week, day after day, doing all the things he does to keep this center alive and prospering. And there's so many others to thank: the Reiki practitioners, the volunteers, the tech people, the musicians, the board, everyone, all of you who support and sustain the center. Because without this, we would not be where we are right now. And I release this knowing that all is well and is manifesting even as we speak. And so it is.
Thank you, Brendan. Don? Sure.
I realized I wrote this song maybe 50 years ago. I was an infant. And it's remarkable how I keep finding that the things I wrote back in my idealistic 20s, which I have not really dropped entirely, you know, this issues have not changed very much. So, fear is a hungry hunter, sure to bring you down if you let it. Anger lies around the corner, sure to twist you round once you get it. We gotta stand strong and hold on to one another. We'll all die the same. You're gonna reap what you sow, so why not try and show some brother love? Some brother love. Lies are a ghost to haunt you, sure to trip you up before it's ended. Hate is a bitter cancer, it takes a long, long time to be mended. You gotta hold strong and stand up beside your brother. We'll all die the same. We're gonna reap what you sow, so why not try and show some brother love? Ooh, some brother love. Love is a taste of honey, sure to fill your life if you let it. Peace is a golden apple, sure to ease your mind once you get it. You better hold on, stand strong to feel your brother. We'll all die the same. You're gonna reap what you sow, so why not try and show some brother love? Ooh, some brother love. Yeah, some brother love.
Thank you, Don. That was really lovely. Thank you, guys. So my talk title this week is Embracing Divine Reality. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the talk that I'm giving today. Nothing. It sounded really good on Tuesday morning when I decided on it, and I had to get the social media people the talk, but the week then just kind of went off the rails, and what a week I had. I had to do a celebration of life service yesterday for a dear friend of mine, and it kind of took the wind out of my sails. Her name was Carlotta Ray. She was a member here for a long, long time. And it was actually funny because yesterday was actually to the day, 13 years ago that I had met her, to the day. Because it was 13 years ago to this day that I actually first spoke on this stage. Now, Carlotta was an amazing person. She lit up every room that she ever went into, and she didn't even have to try. It just came natural to her. She was a glamour statement. She was one of those people who always knew what kind of scarf to wear or a pin or something. She was just wonderful. She was a special person, but she never made anyone else feel less than special. She loved to tell stories. She had 1,000 stories to tell. She loved to laugh, and she was the quickest to laugh at herself and laugh the hardest. She was a real delight. One time, many years ago, before COVID, we had gone over to Carrabba's, Carlotta and Jan and Tom and I, and we had had a really wonderful meal. And afterwards, somebody decided to order dessert. And Carlotta just wasn't having any of it. She was like, no, I am full. I cannot force another bite on myself. I'm sticking to my diet. I had 2 slices of bread. Y'all go ahead and order it, but I don't have a taste for it. Well, we ordered the casada cake. I think that's what they call it. I don't know if you've had it. It's really delicious. It's this big, huge slice of cake. I think they pay you, it's like $15 to $20, but it's huge. And when it comes, you can just tell it's moist and sweet and delightful. Well, they set that cake down in front of all of us, but particularly Carlotta, and she went at that cake. It was like a hippo had gotten pushed in a pool of piranhas. I mean, the bones were thrown back at us. So last week we went to Carrabba's again. I knew the service was coming up, and I thought, let's just in memory, let's order the cake for Carlotta's memory. And we ordered it. And it is sweet. It's a delicious cake. But you know what? It wasn't as sweet or as delicious when we were there with Carlotta. For us to really appreciate life, we have to share it. We have to share it with loved ones, family, and friends. And I think that's the challenge, to be into life, not to deny its the heartbreak and sometimes sadness, but consciously insist on seeing the sweetness and joy, even if they're just but our memories. To consciously insist on seeing them, almost demand to see them. To be grateful for what we've had, but to be open for even more. Now, here's the thing, especially when you lose people in your life, and I've lost many, you don't get replacements. You get new people to come in, and you can appreciate the new people for what the love and joy they bring. But there's always going to be that longing for people who've left. So it's a fine balance to be grateful for what is, but to be open to new blessings, new opportunities, to use our imagination to cast a net wide into Spirit's possibilities. I was listening to a New Thought author who had really achieved success in I think probably the 60s and 70s. His name was Neville Goddard. And you can find a lot of his stuff on YouTube, and they're just chock full of information and ideas. And one of his biggest things, he says, this is a journey we're on. He says, life is a journey. And he said, you've got to realize that every experience brings you closer to having what it is you want in life. Every challenge brings you one step closer. And he says, our ability to be successful on this journey is dependent upon our faith in the goodness of life. Our faith that we have trust and power in the creative power of the universe, and it is working for us and through us, and that by the direction of our thinking, we can empower it. And that every setback is just an opportunity. And they're going to be setbacks. Or otherwise we would live life like I Dream of Jeannie. You remember her? She lived in the bottle. I always liked the bottle she lived in. But all she had to do was nod her head and everything would come her way. Well, it sounds really good, but I think in the long run, it would lead to a pretty boring life. And that's the problem with the idea of heaven, that when we get to heaven, everything's going to be perfect and nothing is ever going to change. Well, that will be boring after a while. We won't learn, we won't grow, we won't thrive. There's more in our hearts and souls that are calling us on. And so our soul needs these challenges, these opportunities to expand, to become more of ourselves. When we don't learn and we won't grow, we're not going to be satisfied. It reminds me of an old episode of The Twilight Zone. Sebastian Cabot was on it. You might remember him. He was the butler in A Family Affair. I always wondered why our family didn't have a butler running around to make things nice. So on this Twilight Zone, he's a butler again, and there's this really tough gangster who happens to get murdered. And when he's murdered, he wakes up in this really amazing New York apartment. He's got this butler who's showing him all the great clothes he can wear, the great shoes, the great watches. Soon they go out to a casino. This guy is just always surrounded by beautiful women. And every time he makes a bet, he wins. And so this goes on for a while because they're in eternity. And so there's no time in eternity. So it can go on forever. And eventually he gets totally bored of it. And eventually just every winning is just making him sicker and sicker. And he finally goes back to Sebastian. He says, well, what is this? He says, I always thought that in heaven that you were supposed to be totally happy. And Sebastian laughs at him and says, it's pretty funny you thought you landed in heaven. So our soul needs challenges. Rumi said that even precious stones, they have to be rubbed to become brilliant. They have to be polished to be brilliant. And that's what our challenges are for us. They're the polishing of our souls to reflect back in brilliance. You are here to shine in brilliance. And greater than any stone you're going to come upon. Because you have the brilliance of Spirit's inspiration within you. Now, one of the best, I think, exercises you can do to express this faith in good, in God, because when you're looking for good, you're looking for God, is to go through your day and recognize the good around you. Recognize the good you see. And if something's not working for you, then don't see it as a punishment, but to see it as an opportunity to have more good in your life, have more God in your life. I've been teaching classes on Thursdays, and I really enjoy them because I get to do a lot of research. We're doing research about when did our creations first start thinking about God. And it's totally amazing because it goes further back than even our species. There was a species before Neanderthal, a little bitty tiny guy. They lived in Africa, and that was the species 355,000 years ago. They began to bury their dead and began to put omelets around, flowers and things around their dead. They were thinking of an afterlife. They were thinking of life immortal. And so for 355,000 years, we've been in this contemplation. Long time. I love what the Buddhists have to say about it. The Buddhists, when you ask them, when you say, well, how did this get going? They will tell you, you weren't there, and so you don't need to worry about it. But they will tell you it's been going on for a long, long, long time. They say, imagine a mountain the size of Everest. This mountain is built nothing but iron. And around this mountain flies one solo eagle, totally circling this mountaintop. Every 100 years or so, the eagle will fly so close that his tips of his feathers will brush that iron mountain. For as long as it would take that eagle to wear the mountain down to nothing, that's how long we've been going on. That's how long. See, we are evolving in this thing called our consciousness. And for me, I think our consciousness is flowing the same back to Einstein, back to Dr. King, back to Michelangelo, back to the little species that were burying their dead 355,000 years ago. We've been going on for a long time. So that part is very interesting to me, but let's get back to, I'm teaching the course. But unfortunately with the course, our organization, they have provided notes. And I think they had a frustrated college professor write these notes because they are long and dense and hard to understand. I took sections of it, and I thought, I had a wonderful idea. I want to take it, I'm going to run it through AI, artificial intelligence. I'm going to tell AI to make it easier to understand. I couldn't even understand what AI came up with. So I was complaining and moaning and groaning, being angry about the organization, rah, rah, rah. And suddenly, a brilliant person who you've seen earlier this morning, Brenda's census, just looked at me and she said, well, why don't you just toss the notes? Get rid of them. Come up with your own. And I was like, yes, that's what I can do. I can do that. There's no note police. I'm not going to come and arrest me. So what had been a big, huge trauma just took a simple idea, a better knowing, and to accept that idea and not engage in the turmoil of it all, not to dwell in the anger and the frustration of it all, just to be willing to say, hey, there's a better way. And that better way is a spirit-inspired way. Goddard said, we are a vortex of power. And he says, creation is flowing through us, evolution is flowing through us, and we can direct it in our consciousness. His main idea was assume the wish fulfilled. Have the energy of the thing you want to experience. So if you want to experience health, assume the energy of it. If you want to experience wealth, assume the feeling of it. And here's the challenge. And then when you go out and you see someone with wealth, don't get angry or mad about it. Celebrate it. And even if you feel like they don't deserve it, celebrate it even more. Because that's just meaning that the creation is creating a lot of wealth. And if it's giving it to someone that didn't deserve it, if you step up and deserve it, you're going to get even more of it. So look for and see that which you want to experience. And then create the feeling within yourself. Give gratitude for what you have. And open yourself up even for the greater that's coming your way. And know that there is greater, because life is never going to repeat itself. It's always evolving for more and more. Now, some people will ask, well, why do we have misfortune in our lives? And this is something we have to give thought to, because we do see people who seem to suffer in misfortune. Life always reflects back to us our dominant state of our consciousness, but we have a lot of residual consciousness from our childhood, particularly before we were 3 years old. And I think we absorb emotions in our mother's womb. And so if there's fear or worry there, we pick up it. And also there's this thing of collective consciousness. You might have the right idea in mind, but if you're in a larger group where there's a collective consciousness, it's going to be hard for you to break through that. So you want to be compassionate with yourself. The key is not to judge or blame, but to recognize that you have power. And the Tao Te Ching, they says, when you let go of what you are, you can become what you might be. and what you might be is wonderful. It is glorious. It is magnificent. It is better than your greatest desires. True power is our ability to embrace change and adopt our perceptions to align with our highest potential. This and even better. This and even more. A powerful person doesn't look a challenge in the face and think of it as a punishment, but for a growth, for opportunity, opportunity for growth. That every setback is a setup for a comeback. Manifestations, what we're desiring to bring in our lives, they occur when we're relaxed, we're confident, we're not in a place of need or want. Spirit said, let there be light. Let there be light. It's an allowing. If we're in a place of desperation, we create energy dams that can hold back even the greatest, most apparent good. I had a friend, and she was in New York City, and she wanted to be a model. Actually, her mom wanted her to be a model. And she really had the looks. The camera loved her, and she was on the way. But it seemed like every chance when she was really going to break out, something happened. And it never came through. She was never able to have that breakout moment. Christ in the gospel says, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. But we have to do the believing. And that's an interior conversation. And that conversation we have to be honest about, because we're the only ones that control that conversation. We're the only ones that can step up and make that decision that we're going to believe in ourselves, and we're going to know that we are deserving of the good we seek. And then you just put it in divine timing. Release anxiety over when it's going to come. Know that creative power is working to bring things to yourself. Let go of your need to control. That's a tough one. Let go of it and trust in Spirit that it's coming to you in the right time. Now, my model friend, after a while, she got fed up with Manhattan. She realized there was too much going on there. And so she headed back to Nebraska. In Nebraska, she hooked up with a farmer. They got married. They had 3 boys. That's what her soul wanted. That's what she needed. She was able to bloom and blossom and become the person she was meant to be. All those goals of being a model, that came from elsewhere. It wasn't even hers. When we're in the right divine flow, things are going to flow through to us easily. And we don't have to worry about it so much. We don't have to work so hard on it. Esther Hicks, you know her, she said, a belief is only a thought you continue to think. And when your beliefs match your desires, then your desires become your reality. Our biggest challenge is that we don't think we're deserving of Spirit's blessings. That's our biggest challenge. You are so worthy. Spirit is waiting to rain down blessings upon you. Rumi said, we were born with wings. Why then do we prefer to crawl? You were born with wings. You're here to soar. You're here to fly above all of it. When we focus on the good gets better. By maintaining an attitude of expectancy and positivity, we attract more good to us. And the good that you really desire, the good that you're really seeking, is to know that you are loved by Spirit. The good you are wanting to experience is that you are playing a part and parcel in the unfoldment of all creation. This is the water from the well. If you drink, you will thirst no more. Knowing how important and how loved you are, how vital and needed you are, how necessary your life is. You came here for purpose. Spirit called you by name from Stardust to be exactly here at this moment. And there is no one that can do the job you've been called to do. You are critical. And creation will not be complete until you have stepped up and stepped out in your knowing of who you are and whose you are. A child of God, come to experience life. Come to know yourself. To know yourself as Spirit knows you. You are God's gift to creation. And you're an avenue by which Spirit can rain down blessings upon you. So we go forth. We go forth not as seekers of fulfillments, but embodiments of it. Not as hopeful dreamers, but as conscious creators. We are powerful. We are the manifestation of God's goodness, the divine expression of infinite possibilities. Right where we are, right as we are. We are the miracle of God that we are seeking. You are the miracle of God that has come to life, to change life, to uplift yourself up, to raise your sights to the blessings of Spirit Almighty raining down upon you. Spirit has called you out by name, and you're here, and this is your purpose, and you're up to the task. Spirit has never for once been disappointed or doubted you. It is far more encouraged, inspired by your possibilities than it's ever been disappointed by any of your mistakes. You are here to do great good, miraculous good. You are here to make a difference, and you're doing it. Your Father, your Mother in heaven is pleased. And when Spirit sees you like the prodigal son, when the prodigal son returned home, the Father went running to him. So it is with Spirit. When we return home, knowing who we are and what we are, knowing what we've come to do, Spirit will come running to us, availing us the blessings, the encouragement, the inspiration we need to raise the lamp of our spirit and love and soul high, to become that lighthouse on the shore, beckoning those in to live in goodness, to live in hope, and to live in joy. It's what we're here to do, and we can do it, and Spirit is calling us on. It's the truth. It is the truth in your life this morning. It's the truth in mine, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Come on up, Don.
Well, who would thank you, Ken? It reminds me of Leon Rhymes, of all things.
Well, this should be interesting.
Let me see if I can find that one. I'm sure you all remember this old song. I hope I do. I hope you dance. Not crawl, but dance, eh? I hope you never lose your sense of wonder. You get your fill to eat, but always have that hunger. May you never take one single breath for granted. God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one door opens. Promise me that you'll give fate a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope hope you dance. I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance, and you never settle for the path of least resistance. Hey, living might mean taking chances, but it's worth taking. Loving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some hell-bent heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. Give the heavens above more than just a passing glance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. 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 Love is a wheel in constant motion. I hope you dance, always rolling us along. I hope you dance. Who wants to look back on your years and wonder where all those years have gone? I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give fate a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance.
No. Thank you, Don. That was perfect. So now we come to the time where we support our center and we support this place because this is a special place to be. Now you can support us in several ways. You can support us in consciousness, doing prayer work to see us growing and thriving. You can support us by volunteer. We always have tons of volunteer efforts. We have some coming up for the Psychic or Mystic Fair Tina can tell you about. And of course, we have opportunities with hospitality. And you can support us in coin. However you choose to support us, know that your support is going to come back to you recognized and rewarded abundantly. So if you take your offering and place it over your heart, read with me this affirmation of prosperity. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share, life returns to me multiplied abundantly. If the ushers will step down, Don, I know you got something good for us.
A song of gratefulness, I guess. I know. I see leaves of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of a rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? they're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Colors of a rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, and they're saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. And I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Jerry. And thank you for your contributions. Your contributions allow this center to grow and to thrive, to continue to be that beacon of love and light. So we thank you, we bless it, we release it, knowing it does its good and powerful work, returning to us multiplied abundantly. And together we say, and so it is. All right, my friends, well, let's conclude our service, and I'm going to do it with an affirmative prayer. So take it in for yourself. If I say something that works for you, hold tight to it. If I say something that doesn't work for you, just let that part slide by. But just know this truth with me today. There is but one God and one mind and one power, and that power is divine intelligence, divine love, divine wisdom. It created me from itself plus nothing else. I'm not all of God, but all that I am is God, here in life to experience great goodness, great health, love, prosperity, and joy. Here to be surrounded by friends that remind me to laugh, not take myself so seriously, to have fun in my life. I am here to witness the glory of God made manifest through my being. And I am not holding back. I am opening myself, lifting my eyes up wide to envision all the good, the great possibilities that Spirit had in mind when it created me. So this morning, I'm turning loose and letting go of every idea of lack and limitation. I've played with those small ideas long enough. I'm choosing to see myself as God sees me, not as weak or wounded, but powerful, dynamic, out in the world and making a difference, being on the cutting edge of Spirit's blessing for all of creation. So here today, I leave this place inspired. I leave this place encouraged. I leave this place knowing that a pathway has been made clear for me, and I am on the move. I am not turning back. There is wonderful, glorious, magnificent work and visions for me and spirit, and I am holding it all in consciousness, and I'm proclaiming it for myself. Every cell of my being recognizes this right knowing, and I release this prayer into the mind of God to do its good and perfect, bold and dynamic work, returning to me multiplied abundantly. And together we say, and so it is. All right, my friends, I'm going to leave you with one last idea, and that is your life. Your life, it's not a problem to be solved. It's a miracle unfolding. Your job today is to go name your miracle, proclaim your miracle, and make it your own. God bless us all. Now let us go be the miracle Spirit is calling us to be. Until we see each other again, this is Reverend Ken wishing you many blessings.
Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. Yeah, the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart. You gotta put a little love in your heart. Come on, put a little love in your heart, back in your heart. Another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know we won't let hatred grow, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. Yeah, the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart. You got to put a little love in your heart. Hey, put a little love in your heart. Go on, go on. Oh, yeah. Brothers, sisters, take a good look around. And if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. I hope you will decide kindness will be your guide. Put a little love in your heart, 'cause you know the world will be a better place. Yeah, the world will be a better place for you and for me. We just wait, wait, wait and see, and put a little love in your heart. We've got to put a little love in our heart. Come on, come on, come on, put a little love in our heart. You too, doggy. Hey, put a little love in your heart. We've got to put a little love in our heart. And take that puppy home while you're at it.